And we can begin our session today. So, hi guys. Before we start our introductions, let me introduce myself first. Yeah, my name is Santosh Potnak. I'm having a total of 12 plus years of experience in reporting. I'm into IT since past 12 years, and especially on Power BI, I've been working more than 4.5 years now. It's close to 5 years. Uh, I've also worked on various reporting tools, especially on SAP Business Objects extensively. Initial part of my career is SAP Business Objects, where I was dealing with creating multiple reports using Crystal Reports, Web Intelligence, and various other tools. So right now I'm also working for an IT company as a software engineer, as a application development team lead. Also, I do train people as a part of Guru Schools. I've been training multiple people across various countries. So, so before we go on with our first session, I wanted everyone to give their short introduction so that we better know each other, and so that as a team we can proceed with the learning. Shall we start off with Raghav?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm Raghavendra Chaleti. I completed my
Yeah, Raghav, please
engineering.
give us your short introduction. Mhm.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, now you are audible. Earlier there was no audio. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Raghavendra Chaleti. I just completed my engineering BTech from Computer Science and Engineering at India in a college named Guru Nanak Institute of Technology. I'm planning to pursue my master's for this December intake, and simultaneously, I'm also looking for a job, so it would help me pay my fees. So that's why I've joined this Power BI course on Dev's suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you, Raghav. Thank you. Next, shall we go with Monica?
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Monica Chaudhary. I live in New Jersey. I've done my PG in organic chemistry, and right now I'm running a event company. But I wanted to do something in IT, so that's why I joined this school.
Company as in Monica?
I run a company like event decoration. It's a
Okay.
Silverleaf event planning. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So you are interested in learning Power BI for switching into IT field, right?
Yes. Basically,
Cool.
I'm going to do both the things. So yeah. Actually, I've
Cool.
done like some I work in SAP in a reporting tool and with Kenneth Core for 5-6 months. So yeah, I just that time I just quit for some reason. So I wanted to like join
Okay, you
again.
have the
So that's
reporting
why.
background as well. That's what you.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Cool. So what's your education background?
Uh, I did my PG in organic chemistry.
Okay,
It's
you're into
completely
totally
different.
different. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Monica. Thanks for your introduction. Lakshmi, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure, Santosh sir. Hi everyone, I'm Lakshmi. I live in New Jersey. I'm a housewife, and now I want to start my career. So that's why I joined in this Power BI reporting. Earlier, I learned a little bit of the SQL Server. Thank you.
Thanks, Lakshmi. Arudra, can you please go ahead?
Hi everyone, my name is Arudra. I live in Maine. It's over up north. So I did my BTech in India, and I worked as a business analyst for over an year in India. And I had to follow my husband, and I'm on a dependent visa. And I'm looking for I soon I will get my work permit. So I just have a long gap of 6 years, 7 years of gap. So my husband suggested me to go for Power BI. So I know a couple concepts of SQL. Pretty much my husband taught me. So I was into Power BI now. I'm excited to learn. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Arudra. Yeah. So thanks for the introduction, guys. So let me start the first session. Let me just start sharing my screen. All right. So we shall dive into Power BI now. So before we start, like I'll just give a brief overview, like what we are going to cover in future sessions. Like as you can see, so we are going to understand what exactly is Power BI. We are going to jump and see like what is the different parts of Power BI or different platforms of Power BI, and what kind of data sources we have, and how do we connect to different data sources. And then we are going to learn what is exactly a Power Query editor and how we can do a lot of transformations over there for tweaking our data. Along with multiple transformations, we are going to learn that. And then we learn about data modeling. So why data modeling is important, and when we shall use the data modeling things in our Power BI. And then we can use different visualizations to create. Within that visualizations, we have multiple options, various properties that we are going to explore. So those sessions going to be multiple sessions. And also we are going to experiment with different types of data, not with a regular Excel or regular formatted tabular data, but also different types of data where we could structure them together. And then we have something called DAX in Power BI, which is heart of Power BI, I can say. So we're going to understand what is DAX and how it is going to be helpful for Power BI. And we're going to jump into a few concepts before we actually learn different kinds of formulae. And as a part of DAX training, we'll start off understanding the engine, how the DAX engine works, and various kinds of functions that we use in DAX. So we're going to have multiple sessions on that. It's going to be in some extensively 5 sessions so that we could cover major functions of DAX. And then we understand what is row level security, different kinds of visualizations, like there are something called custom visuals and when we use those. And also about Power BI service, like what is exactly a Power BI service, and what are the different resources that are available as a part of Power BI service offering. So how we can share the reports with end users, the customers and the clients. So after that, how we can schedule the data sets, how we can share the reports, and how we can manage the Power BI data sets, as well as different kinds of data gateways. And then once this is done, we're going to pick up a small project where we can begin our report building from scratch, as in you get your requirements from a client and how you can start your Power BI development. We are going to take some sample example where we would be starting from scratch, and we would be creating a proper Power BI dashboard. And finally, we will be publishing it to Power BI service, and then we're going to schedule them. We're going to publish, and then we can share with the different customers. So I'm going to show you the entire life cycle of the Power BI, where you'll be learning, how the entire life cycle of Power BI is going to be, right? So this is our going to be our entire journey on Power BI. Okay. So before that, I would start off with our introduction today. So basically, I would like to know, how many of you have installed Power BI or know how to install Power BI? Can anyone tell, like, if you guys are already installed, like?
Yeah, I already installed in my computer.
Okay, who is this? Is it Lakshmi?
I also installed. This is Lakshmi.
Okay. Monica, how about you?
Sorry?
Monica, already you have installed?
Yes, I
think cool. Okay, I think Rudra, Monica, and Lakshmi. Yeah.
Yeah, Santosh, I have already installed.
Cool. Raghav, what about you?
I installed it so long back.
Awesome. Also, everything, I mean, like everybody knows how to install it. It's a Free, it's a free tool. Everybody can download from Microsoft website. It's a standard tool. We can download it for free. There's no charge for downloading it and installing it on our machine. Although we have to pay for licensing or a subscription where you could actually only useful if you wanted to share the reports with the other users. But if you wanted to use for yourself, you can always create an account with Power BI, Microsoft Power BI with your work email, and you can use it for free unless or until you wanted to share with anybody else. Only then you have to go with a different plan. Okay, so we are going to look into the different plans at our end of our training. What exactly the Power BI Pro license, what is this Power BI Premium license, and what is the difference between them and all. Okay, so as part of our introduction session, I would like to touch base more on the Power BI architecture, like what exactly is Power BI architecture and how it helps. Okay, so basically Power BI tool is basically used to connect to various kinds of data sources. Like we could actually connect to different kinds of sources as a part of different kinds of data, and then create them into proper dashboards, right? So for that we use this Power BI desktop tool where we have installed, like everybody has installed this tool already. So using this Microsoft Power BI desktop tool, we call it as a Power BI desktop tool because we have installed it in our desktop, right? So this desktop tool is used to connect to various sources. Like this list of data sources is growing day by day. Okay, so that is where Microsoft is trying to come up with different connectors. These are called connectors. So we have something called connectors within Power BI desktop. Using those connectors, we connect to hundreds of data sources. We can connect to hundreds of data sources. So once we connect to these data sources, we are able to actually do a lot of operations on that particular data. We could actually transform the data, we could actually model the data, we can create a proper reports. And once your reports are done, so all those three things which I just mentioned are done on Power BI desktop. Like you can transform the data, you can model the data, you can create different visualizations in the Power BI desktop tool. So all those things are done in Power BI desktop tool. So once it is done, you actually publish that report to Power BI service. Okay, so first thing is that you have to have some data, right? Like if you wanted to create some report, you have to have some data. So your data is residing in either SQL database or an Excel file or in a SharePoint, right? And Hadoop, like Azure, Salesforce, like whatever it may be. It can be any data source. So once your data is ready, you open your Power BI desktop tool, you connect to your data source, which is your data. Once you connect to the data source, you will be able to create a different kinds of visualizations, different kinds of operations, right? Different kinds of modeling. And once you are preparing a proper report, which is actually presentable to your client, or as per your client's requirement. So once you are done with that, as per the architecture, you publish that to Power BI service, because this Power BI desktop tool is something which is basically present on your local machine or your work machine, right? You work on it, you develop something, and that particular solution is there with you. But if you wanted to share with your end user or your customer or your client, you have to publish it somewhere onto the cloud. So if the symbol represents the cloud, which is Power BI service, right? So Power BI service is something which is a cloud platform where you can actually publish your work that you just developed a while back. So Power BI desktop, you create something, some file, and that file can be published onto Power BI service. Once it is published, as you can see, the symbol itself shows that you can share it with hundreds of users. You can share it with various locations, right? Because it's on the cloud. It's depending upon various licensing or various options that you have as part of your account, you could actually share it with anybody or anywhere. So that is all done on Power BI service. Okay, so once it is done, once you have shared with different users, that can be accessible by those users or those clients, right? Or those end users on desktops, on their desktops, again using the Power BI service link. or on their tabs or in their iPads using again different applications. Like we have Microsoft Power BI, we have iPhone app, we have Android app, right? So we can use in iPhone, Android phones, so like anywhere, like we have their own app. So once you publish onto the cloud, those are available via apps or also on the browser by again Power BI service links, right? So different users can use those, access those apps and links and access the reports that you just shared with them, right? In a secure way again. So this is all done in this particular fashion, where your life cycle of your Power BI report starts from your data, and you have few steps on Power BI desktop. Once those are done, you would publish into Power BI service, and then you share it with different users across location, and they can be accessed using these different apps, or you can say different model or different devices, right? This is all the entire life cycle or entire architecture. One thing that you can see below something is called Power BI gateways, right? So when is this Power BI gateway is used? Let me tell you what exactly is a Power BI gateway. So Power BI gateway is nothing different than again a separate installation file which acts like a gateway between this Power BI service and the server or a machine that you're working. Okay, so as you can see this shows, this two arrow symbol shows that this is something synchronization happening in a secure, in a lock manner between this cloud, that is Power BI service, and this physical, as you can see, hardware that you can see below, right? So what exactly is this is? So let me come back to the data source again. So as a Power BI desktop user or a Power BI developer, you would have connected, let us assume for example one, you might have connected to some Excel file. Okay, your Excel file is residing on your machine, right? Maybe for example, in our particular machine, there's an Excel file, and I'm trying to connect to this particular Excel file. I wanted to build some report. And once I build that report, I am actually publishing that report to Power BI service, right? And I've shared that report to some X customer. So that particular X customer is trying to refresh my data, and you wanted to see the latest data, or you wanted to make sure whatever Excel that I'm updating is being reflected on top of the report. Okay. But as you know, that Excel file is in your local machine, in your personal laptop, but you have already published the Power BI desktop file onto Power BI service, right? And also shared with the end user using Power BI service. The latest changes you cannot have that visibility, because the changes or the updates of the data, you are doing it in your local machine. How does Power BI service know that you have added a new record onto your local machine, which is on your Excel file? That it doesn't know. So in order to make sure your Power BI service knows whatever you are updating as a part of your Excel file, which is located on particular folder on your machine, for that you have to install something called Power BI gateway, right? So once you install a Power BI gateway, there is something, some setup that you can do. Once you set up, do the setup using this Power BI gateway software, what happens is there will be some synchronization or some synchronization happening between your local machine, which is this one, like hardware, and the Power BI service. So that Excel file is synchronized between your Power BI service and your local machine. So next time when you open that Excel file and you update the file, there's always a synchronization and update happening between the cloud and the Excel file. So that next time when your end user refreshes the report, you can actually see the updated data, right? So here, for an example 2, you can replace that example 1 of Excel file with any one. Like for example, there's something called example 2, we can take it as a SQL Server database. So your SQL Server database is actually sitting on your server, right? As a part of your work, you might have access to your server where you have connected to SQL Server database. But when you have created a Power BI desktop report using SQL Server database, and you publish this report to Power BI service, this Power BI service doesn't know how to connect it to your SQL server, which is actually sitting on a different server, right? Physically. So again, what I do is I install a Power BI gateway on the server, and I configure and I do a setup properly where the SQL server is going to synchronize between Power BI service and the Power BI, like on the server itself, right, as a machine in a secure manner using this Power BI gateway. That's where your SQL server table or the data set that you are actually connected is actually synchronized between the Power BI service and the machine. Only then your report is going to be up to date, right? That is where this Power BI gateway helps us. Okay. So, so far so good, guys. Like, let me know as a part of Power BI architecture, are you able to understand?
Yes, sir.
Cool.
Yeah, Santosh. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Thanks. So this is the overall architecture, because individually I will pick up, like for example, I'm going to pick up a Power BI desktop, and again I'm going to show you the various things that we're going to perform. But on a higher level, Power BI architecture stands like this. So when you understand this higher level thing, in many of the interviews, or because if you guys are beginners, in many of the interviews you can actually clarify them, because this gives you an overall understanding of how the entire architecture flows, right? Because there's nothing rocket science in Power BI, because it only differs in different kinds of data sources that you keep changing. As you can see, there's hundreds of data sources. Some person can come and just talk about Amazon Web Services, like he has his data on Amazon Web Services, and he wanted to create a Power BI desktop. So there is something that they need to understand only, like which connector they have to use to connect to which data source, and they have to just enter those credentials. Once you connect to the data source, again it will be the same picture where they can actually work on transforming, modeling, and creating visualizations, which is a Power BI desktop. That remains the same. So once it is done, again this remains the same. Like you have to publish it to Power BI service, and you have, suppose if you have different SQL Server databases or different RDBMS tools, or different Excels that are sitting in different machines, you wanted to come and make them synchronize between cloud, then you use Power BI gateway. That is also in a secure way. Again, your client will be providing access to this, because again it is kind of synchronizing your server data onto the cloud, right? Again, when you say it's cloud, although it's in a secure manner, but again it's on the cloud, right? So for everything, your client is going to double check, and going to authorize only to certain members, especially Power BI administrators, not to all the developers. Okay, so that is a different scenario. So as a security access. So, and then again we will be sharing the reports. So this is the entire architecture. This is a standard architecture on a higher level. Okay. So let's move on to the next part. As we just discussed, this is what we discussed, like we are going to connect to various data sources, right? So data sources can vary from Excel, SharePoint, OneDrive, SQL Server, Oracle, text files, CSV, etc. And then we use this Power BI desktop, and then we use Power BI gateway. Again, we are going to look into different kinds of gateways that we have. Basically, we have personal gateway, and also we have on-premises gateway. So personal gateway is something which you use for your personal machines, and on-premises is something which you actually dedicate it to your standard cloud-based, standard using standard SQL servers and all. So there's a small difference between the setup. So we can, when we go through this Power BI gateway setup, I'll be showing you both of them. And then we have Power BI service, where which is a cloud-based thing where we could actually publish them, right? So again, we can access them on mobile apps, tablet, desktop, right? So there's something called Power BI report server. Again, I'm going to just give you an overview at the end, because I don't want you confuse this. Again, Power BI report server, you can understand, is something like the same thing which we just saw, the entire architecture, whatever we have just saw. If you go back, this is on the cloud, right? This is on the internet. That means this can be accessed across the globe, right? Across anywhere. But this one, this Power BI report server is something which is specific to organization. Suppose my organization doesn't want it to be put on cloud, I could set up something called my own VPN server or my own setup within the organization. And only my employees can access this particular cloud or these reports, right? Within the organization. That is what is this Power BI report server. So something which is the same setup, the same entire setup, same entire architect can be set up within one of the organization. It cannot go outside. It cannot be accessed outside. It's just like in any other company, right? So suppose there's some client, suppose you are working for some specific client, maybe Intel. So that Intel company might have provided you some specific accesses which are only accessible via specific VPN, right? Only those employees, Intel employees can access some resources, right? So that kind of a closed environment we could set up. So Power BI report server. So in order to get more idea, what I'll do is I'll just go on to the cloud and I'll show you what exactly is Power BI report server and why I'm touch based. Like for example, Power BI Microsoft tool. So when you wanted to download a Power BI desktop tool, you can go to this standard website, right? So as you can see, you can actually start, by downloading this. So when you click on the start free, let me just show you. Actually, these options keep changing. Okay, it's going with the login, I guess. Just Power BI Microsoft tools. Because I wanted to touch base on various Microsoft tools that are available actually. Downloads. This one, okay. So when you come to downloads as a Power BI offering, you need to have some understanding, like, before you learn something, you need to have some understanding of what other tools are available. So we will be more like, our 99% of our training is going to cover Microsoft Power BI Desktop, very first tool, right? So again, as you all know, Power BI Desktop tool is something which is basically is meant for creating dashboards, is meant for creating like, easy to use reports and all, right? And there's something called Microsoft Power BI Mobile. Like I mentioned in our architecture, those are available on App Store, like Apple App Store, and also for Microsoft, and also for Android, right? Again, those are again for consuming your developed reports which are published onto Power BI service, right? So once you install these and log in with your ID, you can access whatever you are accessing on Power BI service. I'm going to show you what is Power BI service. Just in web-based access, which I just mentioned on the architecture. So this is another tool. So these are no two different tools, which are again more or less similar one. This is the third one, which I just told you, right? Like data gateway, which I just discussed you a lot. You keep your dashboards and reports up to date by connecting to your on-premises data sources, right? Without the need to move the data, right? I just mentioned you, without the need to move the data. That means you cannot, you need not move the data of your Excel file, which is sitting on your local machine, or your SQL Server database, which is residing on your server, right? We need not move anywhere onto the cloud. We can just make this setup called data gateway. We can actually download in different formats, right? One is on-premises mode or personal mode, and set up them. And once you configure them, it will be synchronized and you can see the latest data. I think these three are clear now because I've already covered that as a part of architecture. Now let's go down. So I was talking about this part, like I just mentioned you on the slide, this fourth one, overview of Power BI report server, right? So this is what is Power BI report server, which is called as on-premises reporting with Power BI report server. So basically what it does is it actually has its own organization's firewall, okay? That is what I was trying to say. So it is having a firewall, it is within the organization, but again, it is the same setup as part of this general, like Microsoft Power BI Desktop, like this, data gateway. So, but everything is in in a firewall environment, like where it is only for one organization, it is in a secure way. Because of that, what happens is it does not have a regular updates. The basic difference is that these are all open, like this can be installed anywhere, and every month we get an update for a Microsoft Power BI desktop, right? We have a monthly updates. When you compare with any other reporting tool, Power BI desktop is very famous because it is getting monthly updates, because Microsoft is listening to your customers very closely, and it is addressing all the bugs, it is giving all the solutions on a monthly basis. So that is where we are getting monthly updates, and your tools, all these tools are going to be updated monthly, right? But this one is not going to update monthly because it's having its own firewall. It's going to be only having, like, once in 6 months or once in a year. Only your administrator have to sit and upgrade it. It does not connect to any internet or public internet, because it is once it is deployed, it has its own timing, like once in a year or once in 6 months we get an update, and it is done on a closed environment. Okay, it's no different than these, but again, it's like it's a separate server, Power BI reporting server. Okay, so far so good, right? So many people doesn't know about this Microsoft Power BI report builder, and once they get to know it and they come back and see what is this Power BI report builder. I learned Power BI desktop, I wanted to know what is Power BI report builder. So Power BI report builder is something which is totally different. As you can see, we can actually create pixel perfect paginated reports for printing or electronic distribution with a familiar experience. So let me give an example. I think Monica, you have worked with some SAP reporting you just mentioned, right? So you might have dealt with Crystal reports, have you?
It's 3-4 years back. I don't remember right
Yeah,
now.
so you might have some idea about Crystal report. So basically, Crystal reports, or for example, Microsoft Power BI report builder, are meant for creating some reports which are basically for printing, for electronic distribution. When I say printing and electronic distribution, I could give an example, like especially in a manufacturing industry or any industrial industries, you might have dealt with the small book kind of a print you get, like suppose you have some 1,000 products have been launched or distributed within your manufacturing unit, and you are it just been unloaded from a different transporting unit. Like you might have unloaded some 1,000 different products, and that has given as a printed material to make sure you check whatever product has been deployed onto your manufacturing unit. So for that, you get some 100 pages, kind of printout or a book, where you could actually go through each page and see product 1, product 2, product 3, right? So those 1,000 or 100 products are actually printed across multiple pages. Basically, it's called paginated report. There are multiple pages and it's for printing, right? So that is again report. It is also a report, because that report has basically how many products have been deployed, and what is each price of the product, and what has been costed, what has been tax implemented for each product, what is the total cost of those 100 products, right? That is also proper report, right? It's not just a print, but it's as a proper report with all the details, with each product name, what is each tax amount and everything. But it is across 100 pages. It's not a single page, right? So that is where your report, Power BI report builder is used. But whereas your Power BI desktop tool is only for I could say proper top level visualization, in the sense easy to use reporting, like in a pie chart, in a fancy charts, like colorful charts, fancy charts and all. But your report builder is not something like that, because your 100 products, you are not looking at some graph and all, right? These are basically graphs, right? Your desktop, you build a lot of graphs, you have a lot of visualizations. But whereas in this Power BI report builder, you see something which is text, something which is information, which we can distribute electronically, or you can print it like 100 pages. So the pages doesn't have this interactable visualizations. It is all about information. It's all about information of those 100 products. But here, if you wanted to represent those 100 products, you represent them into simple pie chart. It will say like 20 products are coming from 20 products are coming from internet, 20 products like category. It will show you some category or electronic or whatever it is. So those 100 products are distributed across one visualization or one pie chart or one bar chart or something like that. Whereas here, those 100 products are distributed across 100 pages or 50 pages, giving all that information, right? So this is what is Report Builder. Report Builder is a totally different tool, and the learning mechanism is also different. The working mechanism is a little different. You have to understand different concepts there. So these are the 5 different offerings for Power BI, and you should have some idea before you actually jump and learn about Microsoft Power BI Desktop. So all you are going to learn is Power BI Desktop here, where again you will have some idea about these things, right? Like how to set up these things, and you just learn like what exactly is this. So you will be working on Microsoft Power BI Desktop. Okay, so next time when you somebody talks about Power BI Report Builder, you can have some idea that it's totally different than what is actually Power BI Desktop is. Okay, I hope I clarified all these 5 things. If you have any doubts, please let me know. Okay. Okay. So let me move on to the Power BI Desktop actually. Okay. So now we are going to start off with the Power BI Desktop tool. So what exactly is Power BI Desktop tool? So as you can see in the screenshot, we are having 3 different parts of it. One is a report view. As you can see, the symbol report view. And one is data view. One is model view. Okay. Report view, data view, model view. So let me just go back to the tool itself and show you. So I just opened the Microsoft Power BI Desktop tool, and as when you open this tool, by default it will show this UI, okay, where you have your menu bar which shows different options which we are going to look at in our further sessions. On the right side you can see something which you can expand, you can close them, like visualizations, fields and all. So we are going to look them in a later stage. So first thing I wanted to tell about is the left side. As you can see on the very left side, you can see something called report view. Okay, when you hover on it, it itself shows that it's a report view. And this yellow kind of a bar shows it's selected. And there's something called something called data view. When you click on it, you can see this has been selected. And then we have something called model view. As you can see, some model symbol is there. Like it shows there's some kind of model, like some kind of relation between tables, right? This is one table, table 2, table 3, and we can see there's some join or some relations there, right? So this is what is basically all 3 different views that you can see in Power BI Desktop. So what exactly is what exactly is done here? Okay, I'll tell about that. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll give a quick update on what exactly is done on these 3 areas, and what exactly is done after these 3 areas are addressed, and what again we do, so that you'll get a complete picture. Okay, afterwards anyways we're going to sit on each part, and we're going to learn a lot of things, but right now I'm going to show you what exactly is done in a quickly fashion. Okay, so what we do is, first thing we work on something called data view. Okay, in fact there's something called Power BI query editor, which is again something which comes after that, like similar to data view, or something which we actually pull our data. What I can do is I'll quickly take an example to demonstrate that. Okay, so you can also try it from yourself. Like Power BI few months back, they were not giving these options that you are seeing right now. As you can see, the screen was not there, like add data to your report. If you go back 6 months, or some 7 months back, there was no option of this particular screen. So right now they have provided some default data set to start your practice. As you can see, import data from Excel. So basically this option, when you click on it, you can actually navigate it to something which is by default installed on your local Power BI setup when you install Power BI Desktop. Or if you wanted to directly navigate to that, you can actually try this one. Try sample data set. Let me show you that. So I could say load sample data. So what it does is it is trying to pick up an Excel sheet, which is actually present somewhere in the folder structure, which when we installed our Power BI desktop, what it has done is it has automatically installed one Excel file in certain path. So when you click on this, automatically it is trying to fetch that file. Okay, so let me just click on load or transform data. I'm going to explain all these options in my next examples in my coming sessions. Don't worry about all that. So I wanted to demonstrate something now, which I would stress on more on these operations which I was talking about. So don't worry about this, this part that I've just clicked on this transform data. Okay. As you can see, what I've done is I just clicked on transform data and there was some pop-up. As you can see, my original screen is still there, right? Original screen is still there, but there is a new pop-up that is come, which is called as Power Query Editor. Okay. It's a separate window or separate options that you could see when you actually click on this transform data. All right. So I'm not going to stretch on that now because I'm having a different session for that. Let me just close and apply. I wanted to stretch more on these three options. So in the transform data, we would actually change our data or do a lot of transformations. So once you have done all that, you could actually come and look at your data here. When you click on data view, the data I just loaded using this sample data, which is basically coming from an Excel. So the data is coming and sitting over here. So you can actually see the data from when you click on data view, right? So your data view is giving your access or visibility for your data set, where you can look at two different tables. Suppose you have here, you click on the table and look at the data and your columns. Right, it is giving your idea of like what data is there and what columns you have, like what is the different data and what you can actually click on the drop down. You can sort them, you can actually filter them out. Okay, so all these operations are there. You can change the formats and also your data view is actually giving access to your source itself, like data, like whatever data has been loaded onto your Power BI desktop. So basically, we can load our data to our Power BI desktop using connectors, so which we are going to look into our next session. So when your data view is going to give the complete picture. So once your data is ready, right, maybe sometimes you have more than one table. Right now, as you can see, you have only one single table sitting on here. But when you have more than one table, you can go to your model. And when you have more than one table, then only you can actually create a relationship. Since you have only one table, you can't create a relationship between tables, right? So when you have another table, you can actually create a relationship between those two tables and create a proper join. That is where your data model is meant for. As you can see, this particular model, when I clicked here, this is giving you access to the modeling part where you can actually create relationship between different tables. Because in order to show a proper report, when you are connected to various tables, more than one table, it is mandatory or it is a major requirement or it's an important part where you could actually create relationship between those tables in a proper manner. Only then the data that you are consuming or the data that you are showing to your end users is coming in a proper meaningful way, right? So here you are going to create a different models, like once the model is ready, once your data is ready, once your model is ready, and then when you go to this report view, okay, this is where you come at the end, where you use different visualizations. Like there's a bar called visualizations. So you use different visualizations. For example, let me just quickly, just for an example, let me just quickly show you some cluster chart. What I've just done is I've added a chart, and I'll quickly add some values over here. Maybe for values, I will add some sales value. And what I'll do is for some axis, I wanted to break down the axis based upon some country. Maybe just for example, you could see a different bar chart, right? And there are a lot of other options. We could actually break down it with different slices again, different clusters again based upon different products. This is for USA. For USA again, what I've done is I break upon different products. So we'll see all those things in a later stage. So what I've just done is I've quickly created a visualization, right? So first what I've done is I've connected to a data source. So it was an Excel, which was the default thing. And then once it is done, we have that, once you have loaded the data, it is sitting in our data view. And then we could have modeled our data if you have more than one table. And then once the modeling is done, we could actually go and create a visualization, right? So this is a kind of an major parts of a Power BI where you could understand this views. So these are the views. So these are the major views. So under this individual view, there are a lot of other options that we are going to look and learn as and when we progress. For example, this particular report we have got this visualizations pane where you could actually see these are the fields that you can map them, and these are the multiple options that we going to look into our sessions. And then we have different visualizations here, and then we can look into our fields and drag and drop them here. It's a simple drag and drop, like you might have already seen, like just drag these three visual fields and I could create a visualization, right? So similarly, you have a lot of options. So all these are options, but again, they're just going to be lying under these three main parts. Okay. So again, these options are, we're going to look into multiple options here. So this is the higher level of Power BI desktop views. And once this is done, what we are going to do is, let me show you. So I'm going to publish this report. Okay. Because I wanted to, before I publish, it is asking me to save this, right? So I have to save. As you can see, when I can save, this is a demo test file. So as you can see, the save as type. Save as type, it is showing us .pbix file. You have to remember this, okay? Power BI file is a standard file, which is a .pbix file, okay? There are two different types of files in Power BI. One is .pbix file, one is .pbit file, okay? You could actually change that as well, but I'm not going to talk about .pbit file now, which is a template file. I'm going to give an example in a later stage. This is a Power BI X file. Majorly, we will be working as a developers. Okay, you focus on that now. So once it is saved, we can actually publish into the cloud. So before you publish into the cloud, you have to make sure you have access to that cloud, because I've already logged in, as you can see. As you can see here, let me cancel this. As you can see, I have logged in, hence this top part is showing that, I have logged in. Otherwise, what you have to do, you have to click on sign in. There would be a sign in option. You have to log in. So if you have an account, you can log in. So when you log in and when you try to publish, it is actually giving us access to different parts of our workspaces. So your Power BI is something called workspaces. Let me just quickly show you. So you have to remember this app.powerbi.com. Okay. app.powerbi.com is a standard link. Okay, that is your standard link where basically you could actually see it as a Power BI service link. So app.powerbi.com is your Power BI service link. So once you have access to that link using some account or some license, you could actually log into that. So since I've already have access and logged in, I was able to log into that. Okay. So once you log in, it will be showing you various workspaces that you can see. All these are workspaces. Workspaces are nothing but folder structures. So I'm going to touch base anyways in my later sessions. So that is what is happening here. As you can see, I'm going to publish this file I just created into 01 demos folder or workspace. Okay, let me click on it. As you can see, it says it is being published to the cloud, which is a Power BI service. As you can see, it's a success message. It says, okay, I can also click on this. It will directly open that link. I don't want to do that. I wanted to go back to my service and I wanted to go and look into 01 demos. And I wanted to look into this. I'll just refresh it so that I wanted to see the latest report that I just published with the name. What is our name? Demo test file, right? This is the file, right? As you can see, you can also look at the timestamp. You can see. Because it's showing the Indian Standard Time, it is showing this 11th of October, 7:23 a.m. Okay, I just published this report. So for every publish that we do, remember this, it will also get two parts. Another thing called data set. As you can see, demo test file, this is a data set and this is a report. There are two different things which I'm going to touch base on our future sessions. Okay, just remember that. So what I've just done is I've pushed it into the cloud. Now I can open that report. It's the same report on the cloud. As you can see, this is the same report that I built on a desktop file, and I opened this in the cloud. Now I can share this report using some sharing options to anybody in my organization or outside the organization, depending upon the licensing terms, right? So again, this can be accessed into your mobile, iPad, anywhere, provided you have the access to your Power BI account. Okay, so this is a entire overview or architecture that we work on. So any doubts, guys?
No, I'm good,
Oh, sir.
Santosh.
Raghav, any questions?
No, sir.
Cool. So why I'm giving you this complete overview is that once you get this overview, from tomorrow we are going to jump and look into individual concepts, and we are going to stick with that for a long time. So I don't want you guys to have that gap where what happens and how the entire process of a Power BI. It's nothing complex. Only the different comes, like how do we connect to different data sets that we are going to look from tomorrow. Like there are a lot of options. Like you can see, get data options. So here we have a lot of different connectors that are available, like as you can see. So we are going to connect to various data sources, and we are going to understand how we can connect and all those things. So the learning curve is something different, which is not relevant to the architecture itself. So once you connect to different data sources, again, you have to come and work and create a report and publish into your Power BI service and open it there and share it. So this is going to be standard. So that's a basic understanding that you should have as a, like how Power BI works. Okay. From tomorrow, what I'll do is I'm going to show you different options to connect to Power BI. Different data sources. Majorly, I will be showing something which is on what I'll say, like I have some examples for you guys where I would be covering some Excel file, OneDrive, like I also show you OData, CSV file, and also SQL database, like in our corresponding sessions. Like, okay, so we're going to look into individual demos so that you will understand like how I'm going to connect to SharePoint, how I'm going to connect to OneDrive, and what are the options that you need to take in care and all. So after that, we'll slowly move into our transformations and other options. Okay. I think as an introductory session, I would wanted to close for this. If you have any questions or any topic that you wanted to discuss, you can ask now so that we can spend on that for some time, like maybe 3-4 minutes, and then we can close. Or if you do not have anything, you can close it. Just tell me, guys. Hello.
I'm good, Santosh. Thank you.
Cool. So one more thing I wanted to suggest is you don't need to worry on the Power BI service part at the moment, because there's a lot of learning that we will be doing using Power BI desktop tool, which you already have access for. Only when we move on to this Power BI service at the end, which I mentioned, right? That like maybe Power BI service, like all about Power BI service. Then maybe I would be creating some accounts for you so that you will be having access to that, and then you can also explore along with me. So all these sessions that we are going to have, it doesn't require Power BI service because we are not going to log into the cloud. We can do all those learnings and all these concepts on our desktop tool itself. Okay, so we're going to learn all those things on our desktop tool itself. Okay. So for tomorrow's session, in the sense like day after tomorrow, you have another session, right? So what I want you guys to do is, since you already installed on your report, as you have seen, there's an option called try sample data, like how I've just bought this data, right? Similarly, I want you to open this try sample data and come up with some visualizations, like just drag and drop. I don't want to do anything, like whatever I've just done, like I just added in visualization randomly. I've just dragged and dropped a couple of things. So I wanted to create something like this, like multiple visualizations. Let's drag and drop, and I want to hear from you, so that I want it to be more practical or more acquainted. Like, so if you do it from starting, and if you are coming up with some solution, it would be very good that you would have more hands-on, more understanding with the tool. So I wanted to, maybe I'll check out in case I might do a screen share and look into some individuals where what exactly have you done. So I want you guys to come up with some couple of pages, or page 1 or page 2, as you can see. Add some visuals just like this. Not much, but I just wanted to add. Okay, because the dataset is already with you. Yeah,
So will you be sharing the Excel file?
that's what I'm saying. Let me just tell you. I think you didn't get that. Let me just repeat for you. So this wonderful option that Power BI is doing, guys. Okay, I'm just opening. Look at this tool. I'm just opening Power BI desktop tool again, freshly. Okay. Because earlier what has happened is like Power BI was not providing any default Excel file for practice. So what it has done is this update has come like 6 to 7 months back, which I already told you. So this new update, what it has done is basically, as you can see, this when you open your new installed Power BI desktop, unless or until you are using very old setup, you won't be seeing this. If you are installed this tool maybe 3-4 months back, definitely you would see this screen. Okay. So once you this screen, I wanted to focus on this something called try a sample dataset. Okay. When you click on this try a sample dataset, automatically Power BI desktop itself is providing you an Excel file. So Raghav, you just asked me to provide a sample Excel file. So what I'm saying is it's already there here.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
sir,
So you click on load sample data. So basically what it is doing is it is actually pulling that Excel file from certain location. I can actually show you that location also if you want. You can go to your machine and look at that location. Maybe you can see this, right? Let me just maximize this for you. So the source is like, if you go to C drive, program files, Windows apps, Microsoft Power BI desktop, there's something called sample data folder, bin sample data and financial sample.xls. Okay. So when you click on this try sample data, what it is doing is it's automatically navigating into this particular path in your machine. So whenever you install Power BI desktop file, automatically this sample file has been provided by Microsoft itself. Okay. So that is where when you are able to click on this option, automatically this step is coming. Otherwise, it's a manual step. I could do the same step by going like this, get data, Excel, which I'm going to show you tomorrow, right? I'm going to navigate to this particular path. Maybe you can try this also, okay? You can go to this particular path after tomorrow's session. So right now you go with this tiny sample data, but after that you can go to the C drive and this particular path and you could find the same file here. With that, what will happen is you will get idea on how to navigate it to different paths and how the this navigation of connectors works. Okay, is that okay, Raghav? So you can just try this sample data set and come up with some visualizations randomly. Okay.
Okay.
So okay, guys, then I think we can close the session for today. We will connect again on day after tomorrow. I think it's good to start with this session 1, and I'm good. Like I want everyone to be consistent, and think Monica, Rudra, Lakshmi, Raghav.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you guys give yourself a commitment so that you don't miss a single session. Because how much ever busy you are, I want you to take some commitment so that attending a live session is different, attending a recording is different. Okay, although the recordings will be available, but live session will be a different experience, and our presence of mind is different, because you can ask yourself, you might have attended many recordings, you might have attended live sessions. So the presence of mind is definitely a different thing. The focus will be different. So when the focus is different, the amount of information that you will be consuming and learning is totally different, right? So let's see like how many people will be there till our last session. So let's see, and I'll see how much committed you guys are. So I'm wrapping the session today, guys. See you after tomorrow. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Santosh. Thank you.
Thank you, Santosh. Thank you very much.